Hi everyone, I'm finally back with a new series of clips of Disney Infinity tutorials. Sorry for the time, but it absolutely took me ages to get these together. And I'll explain that a bit later on. But my new series is to do with the fantastic film of this year called Infinity War. Now I had mentioned I was going to be doing this, so I've got a series of clips going to be coming that's going to do basically the entire film. And the first set of clips that I've got coming for you now are all based on the attack in New York. So I've got Iron Man with his new power disc. I'm going to go straight into it, and you'll see here cars come flying, crashing on the street. Oh my god, what's happened? So we're going to fly up and let's go and have a look to see what's happened. And holy moly, one of Thanos' ships has turned up, which is called the Q ship. Not many people know it's called the Q ship, but that's the name of the ship given to it in the Marvel movie. And that is basically what we are going to build over the next 3 clips. Now in this clip we're going to come down, superhero landing, awesome. And as Iron Man we're going to attack a wave of individuals that come through. Now when we attack this in New York, you see we've got the cloud, we've got the dust. Sadly I don't have Doctor Strange to get the dust out of the way. But we're going to have this effect where we fight in New York, defeat these enemies. Now admittedly there was only 2 characters in the film, but obviously we want to make it a bit more playable. If I put 2 characters in, it's going to be over pretty quickly, and there's a lot of effort that's gone into this. Okay, now you'll notice here I've just gone flying through because I've also got the cars flying through the air. Okay, the wind blows the cars back, so that's another effect which can knock objects, can knock into me, which is quite cool. And again, that's another thing I'm going to show you. Also, while doing this, I don't really play with Iron Man. I prefer the other clips, but I've unlocked all his cool gadgets. He does some quite cool things.
Very cute.
Right, so you see me just beating these enemies out. Now you're going, so, but where's the Q ship? Right, so the object here is after we've done our first wave, where you'll fly up, and you'll now see that we have some targets appear next to our Q ship. So I've got the little lightning strike. And before anyone else says it, because my daughter's already done it, she did say, wasn't the Q ship a lot redder than that? It was, which is why I've added the red strip, because it's too dark, but the red just didn't look right. It looked like a bit of a metal, so I've gone with that type of effect. But you'll see here we've got a complete circle, which is the thing that nearly broke me on Disney Infinity, and I will explain to that in a few moments. But in this gameplay, what we're going to do is we have to shoot some targets, right? But if you don't shoot them quick enough, the targets come back up. Right, and everyone at work always tells me I can't shoot for toffee, and this little example just proves to you that I can't. I thought I'd just show you the 10 seconds and then I couldn't shoot the things, but you've got 10 seconds to shoot these. So there's a number of different elements you can string along and pick. Again, comes back again. So hopefully you can pick things out from here. But that is my flying ship, and it gives me a good excuse to look at the ship that we built, because it took a while. Now the good news is that you have 3 clips regarding this model, and it's not actually that complicated. Yeah, a bit time consuming, but it's not actually that complicated to create the ship. But the clip I had to break down into 3. Superhero landing again. Right, so apologies that I couldn't get any condenser, but I want to make sure I cover all the elements. And there are different parts to here, not just the ship. We've got the cloud, we've got the battles, we've got the wind, we've got the cars flying through the air. So there's quite a few things within this clip. And guess what? I don't use all the memory up in my toy box. So hopefully everyone else should be able to create this as well in whatever console that you're using. Another thing that we're going to look in this particular part, this is level 1. Okay, and what we're going to also point out is that we're going to string all these levels together. So this one is called Thanos Attacks New York. The next clip, well, the next chapter is going to be called I can't think of the name. Oh yeah, that's it. The next chapter is going to be called What Happened to the Asgardians, and basically it leaves us with what happens once Thor and Ratchet fly off in the movie. We're going to be left with Star-Lord, and just to see who was left in the wreckage after the ship was destroyed. Now, if you haven't seen Disney Infinity, if you haven't seen the Infinity War, you need to go and see it. I think everyone's seen it. The best film of the year, probably one of my favourite films ever, and I'm a Star Wars fan. Absolutely brilliant. Although my next series after this, I think I've got to do some sort of Mission Impossible film, because the last Mission Impossible Fallout was brilliant. absolutely loved it. So they're my 2 films of the year. So let me know what you thought your films of the year was. Solo definitely wasn't one of them. This is where I was told by my daughter not to say, but I have to. That's why I go nanotech. Yeah.
No one likes to show off.
Right. So basically, the way this works is you get 3 waves. Yeah. So after you destroy these enemies, so 3 waves of enemy comes up. So you've got to make the battle better. We then have to do the 2 sets of targets, and then I've used a Ronin as the boss fight at the end. Now when we have the boss fight at the end, that will then open up a portal on the ship, which we can then enter that ship, which will then take us to the next level. Right? But I think we'll have these clips all built up over the next few weeks, and I can keep coming out. Now, obviously, if I was doing this properly as a business, we wouldn't be releasing it at the biggest gaming period in the entire year. Why all the games have to be released at the same time, I had no idea. So we've just had the Spider-Man game. If anyone's played it, it's amazing. You've just had Lara Croft game released. Okay, you've got Assassin's Creed coming next. All look awesome. Then you've got Red Dead, which is going to kill pretty much anything else. Then you've got Battlefield and the Call of Duty games. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to tease you to not play any of those great games and get back into using Disney Infinity. Yeah? Let's see if it works. Let's see if anyone actually does it. Because I've gone in this last few months, I've gone from a love-hate relationship with this game. I almost gave up because of what this particular ship did. But I've got the love back again, and I'm now just cracking on doing some more levels before those, basically before Red Dead comes out. And here you go, we beat Thanos, and there's our doorway, and we will open that up to go into the next level. So that's what we're going to build. Now, what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to show you where it all went disastrously wrong. After my last clip, my Star Wars Rogue One clip, I had this idea of the Q ship, and I thought, fantastic, I can make a circular brick. I'm going to have this done in 2 weeks and send it. So I was quite excited after doing that clip I could show you, because the Star Wars one was quite stressful trying to make the whole thing fit in the one level. So I thought I'll do a smaller level and get this to work. So what I've got here is I've got all these bricks, and these bricks are connected to the paths, and they're going to go one at a time along to this path, join this path here, and then connect to the circle. So you'll see it'll go like a daisy chain, and you'll see them all move one at a time, step by step, and as they go around the path, because they're stacking together, they end up making a circle. So I thought that's great, that's going to be really good. So I'll just show you what happens. So we'll go here, and I have to show you this because I've got to explain why there's been 4 months of no clips from me, right? So you press this button, as it goes through, they move round, and they go round on the circle. Look at that. But because the way the path tool works, when it gets to the going around the bottom part, it drops to the inside, so I get a mushroom effect. Now this broke me, right? And I thought, well, I can't do the Q ship. How do I do it? And I got angry with it, and that was it. Couldn't do it anymore. Look at it, it's pants. I couldn't find a way around it, add paddies, and hated it. So I've been playing other games and thought, well, I don't know how to do with Disney Infinity. I ended on a good one. How can I think of anything else to do? And then while on holiday, I came up with this idea. Now this idea seems quite straightforward when you think about it, but it took me ages to work it out. What we're going to do is we're going to create 2 circles. Okay. Now I'm going to go through every single stage, don't get me wrong, in the final version. So I'm going to show you the whole thing because we're going to do it on a larger scale. But what we're going to do is the first circle comes in and we go across the top as it does. It goes round the top. But when it gets to this part here where it changes round, I'm going to flip it to a larger circle, which is exactly 1 square bigger, so that when it comes back on the inside, it actually looks like it's attached to the other circle, right? And then and when it gets to the end of the way, I have to then jump it back. Okay. Now the reason why it broke me also was I didn't do a little test sample like this. Oh no, I went for the full-blown map straight away because I promised you I'd have this clip out in 2 weeks. So I had 100 square bricks set up to find it didn't work. Yeah, so I had a smaller with 23 comes through, and then you get that now gives you the circle effect. Right, I need to add a couple more bricks to get rid of the line, but that does it. Then my daughter went, yeah, but it flickers. Look at that. That's garbage. I went, oh, you're right, it flickers. But if we stop the path, look at that. It doesn't flicker. So that is how we're going to do it. So that's my little test models. But then I thought, okay, now I've got a circle. How do I build it to look like a Q ship? that was my next thing. So like I mentioned here, I'm going to go through all these stages in more detail, and I'm going to go through. But what we have to do is, we now know that we can do the mechanics, right? So what we have to do is, we actually have to build the frame, and the last thing that we do is to ship. And I'll repeat this constantly over three clips. So this is a quick and easy way. So I'm showing you this way because a lot of you might see the big Q ship and say that's great, but that's going to take me forever. So this one only takes 25 bricks, yeah. And you'll see here I'm now going to build the actual the panel at the front. So you'll see I'm using some triangular blocks. Yeah, and you can only build this while the circle doesn't exist, because if you try and build it with the circle there, the bricks won't let you to do it because they'll get in the way. So at this present moment, nothing is in the way of the actual item. So this is a mini version, yeah, and then we'll go through the big one and we'll do the various items on here. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is going to be broken over 3 clips, so we do most of it, but the sad thing is, the very last thing we do is switch the thing on, so our ship is never actually finished until the end of the 3rd clip. So apologies for that, but I will do you quick items. But that's our cockpit. That just looks like a load of boxes. Yeah. If I switch the path tool back on, my bricks will move. So let's move back as Iron Man. Press those, and now you'll see them all sliding around, and it now creates me a mini Q ship, which now looks like part of the thing. And then at some point I need to stop it, and we're going to do this on a timer. And there you go. And hey presto, that is what our Q ship. And that's a small version, so you could do a fleet of these little ones. And what that one there took 25 bricks. So I would probably use 30 if you're going to do it, to make sure you don't get any little triangles. But I'm going to go through all the mechanics of that and how that all works. Right, so what I've done here is I've just loaded up one of my templates. So you'll see in previous clips, something I did last year, I did a Spider-Man level, I think the Homecoming one. Now, this city already existed, I've created it took me a few bits to do, and a lot of you have asked me, how do you create the city? Can you show me a clip? Well, if you look at my other clips, how to bring a city to life, I do show you how to build the foundations of this clip. But to go through and build a city, this city did take me a while, but I saved it and I can reuse it again and again, and I did mention I would be doing this. Now the trick here is not to try and have too many repeating buildings. Now I use the Oscorp building more than once, I use the Wreck-It Ralph building loads of times, but I make sure wherever you are you can't see the other set. So I try and pick, so in one view you can only see those buildings. If you go to the other side, I repeat the same buildings again, but because you physically can't see that they're repeated, they always look new. So I try and go around all the whole set. Now I've added a link on the website so you can download pictures of this so you can try and replicate it, but you can't make it any bigger than this because it just won't handle it. So that's the city that I've already done, and I slightly cheated. But what we're going to concentrate here now is we're going to build the ship. Okay, so we need a frame. So what we're going to do is going to get some basic bricks up. Yeah. And on that basic bricks here, we're just going to put this on the place. I want this over the City Hall ship, and it's slightly lower so it appears within the cities, which I thought would be quite cool. So you'll see here, I've just got this brick there. Again, I use a lot of these bricks just to be reference points. So what you'll notice is I need it to be a certain size. Okay, so in this case I'm going to do 2 bricks up, so that's how high above the ground it's going to be. Okay, this one is the important one. That single brick is going to be the bottom, and what we're basically going to do is going to create the circle for the queue. So another brick in the middle. So we'll do another little brick on in the part. So we'll do in here. So we're going to create like a big giant cross. Yeah, and then we're going to delete these out. So let's just go across. So we're going to go. So there's going to do 3 either side, and then the 4th box. So we go 1 there. Okay, so we'll leave these little bricks in. Now the position of the path tool is extremely important in here as well. So be careful. And just by the way, just in case anyone says it, I do realise that I said ratchet instead of rocket. Because I have just platinum Ratchet and Clank, so that was always in my head, just in case any of you did notice that little mistake there as I was doing my little intro. Right, back to there. So we've now got this cross. Now this cross is going to be deleted out afterwards, because the only things I need are those 4 squares at the very end, so we can get rid of the middle part now they're in position. But I do that a lot with my clips. If you've seen that, I use the bricks to position them so I know they're spaced correctly, and then I can take those out. So we've got those items in, and now we're going to delete the circle. Yeah, so let's get rid of those items off the screen. Yeah, but again, it's just things that you can use on helping you make sure your path is correct. Right. I think I took a little bit too long. One thing I need to explain that, but there you go. Right. Let's get rid of those. So I'm now left with the exact 4 squares that I require. So what I need to do now is I need to go and get my path tool. Yeah. So I need to go back to me Creativity Toys and go to my path tool option. Now the position of the path tool is essential. You get this in the right order, otherwise the circle won't work. Okay. So the first path tool that we do has got to go up. Yeah. It's got to go up. So but you've got to keep going in that. You've got to do both in the same direction. So in here we're going to start with the front of the ship, and it's going to be the inside part, and it needs to be the inside one. The inside one is going to be in the box side that's going to go in here. So in there we're going to start with that one option, yeah, and we're going to go up. So click once there, and then we're just going to move the path round. So up it goes, and again keeping the square bang in the middle, not at the top, underneath. We're all doing the inside one. Okay, it's got to be underneath the box, because the other one is going to go on the outside of the box. Yeah, so that helps us on the screen. So we go across into here, all doing the inside, perfect. And by doing the squares, it's so easy to make sure I get a perfect circle than trying to guess it. And it's the exact same size. We go down here. Now, that once we click that last one in there, you think you want to go back to this bit. You don't. You just then circle out, and that now frees our shape. And that's our circle. But you go, that does look like a circle. Obviously, it doesn't, because what we need to then do to the path tool is go to the settings of that. Yeah, and then we try and change it to loop. And when we do it to loop, okay, come out there, you'll see that you have a perfect circle. Perfect. Now the second one we need to do has to be from, so where we started from, you've got to go to the opposite side. Yeah, but you've got to be on the outside. But you do not go up. We've got to keep going with the same route that we went round last time. That's important, otherwise you're going to totally mess this up. And there's a lot of connections you're going to do here, so you need to make sure you pay attention here. You go down, because we're going to go so that both circles are going in the same direction. Okay, so move this back up here, move this onto the end, and we're now going on the outside of all this. Hey presto. Cool, that's that one done. Circle out, and we do the same thing again with that box. We're going to go into the front of that, and we're going to make that looped. So there we go, on the screen, change that to looped, excellent. And now we have our 2 circles perfectly matched. So those squares can now go, we don't need them. Okay, so they're no longer, so, but again, careful. A lot of rushing here will do it. If you're doing any type of programming or any use of a computer or consoles, you'll find that swearing tends to come hand in hand. You try not to, but you just can't help it. Right, so what we're going to do here is that's going to be our starting point. That's where all our bricks are going to come across, and then when they get to this circle here, we're going to move them to the other path. So we'll do a little logic connection and connect it to this one. So we'll just do a straightforward logic connection here and do a new logic connection. When point reached on path, can we move all the objects to this particular setting? Okay, so we're going to go right down there. Cool, so that now moves across onto there. Now, the bricks now come on the inside now, being perfectly. Then when they get to the other side, they will go on the outside, so we need to jump them back. So on this point, we do new logic connection again on here. When point reached on path, we're going to send them back. Now I have to say, my original Q ship had like multiple layers. I was really going to town on it. It was just way too complicated. I needed to keep it simple, and I keep telling that always go for the simple option. It tends to work far much better. So we've now got our circle. What we need to do now is we now need to prepare our bricks that are going to go in across there. Now in my template, if you remember, I created like a little city. We've got my little block areas that I'm going to hide out of sight underneath, and we need a certain number of bricks. Now I didn't know when I'm starting this how many bricks they're going to do, but that's why I've done this for you. Now you actually need 56. Okay, don't ask me why 56. We're going to do 40 to start with, and then we're going to add some more to it. So depending on how big your circle is, we'll keep adding. But I thought I'd break it up because you may want to do different sizes. So I want a flat brick, right? And another thing I found out, by the way, you need to space these apart. This is important because when we link them all together, I had them too close together and it got very, very confusing. It was just one big giant rectangular block. So trust me, when you do these, make sure you space them apart so there's a good gap. And this was another thing. All these things I did back in May, and when it failed, I just said, "That's it, I've had enough. I'll do it," and threw my toys out the pram. I really did have a paddy, and just didn't want to come back to it. I didn't want to come back and fix it because I promised this particular clip. Right, I'm just going to speed this up slightly because I'm just going to put in 40 bricks here. So let's speed this up here now. So what we've got here is I've done 40, so rows of 4, and I've done 10 rows. Okay. Right. This bit here now is we're setting up. It's a lot of setup to do because none of this you're going to see. Right. For each of these bricks, we're going to make a little mini path because we need to stagger them so they go like a domino effect. Okay. So against each brick here, we're going to create a path. Now, one thing I also found out is you need to do 3 points. Okay. And trust me, I just used to do the one. You think, I can do it all in one go. Don't do it. It doesn't work. Creates too many bugs. Again, something else I've tested. This is another reason why it's taken 4 months to come up with it. For you, it looks like it all works first time, but it doesn't. So you create 3 sets of points, yeah, and you'll notice they're all one box. So directly underneath them, you'll just see 1, 2, 3. Don't do different sizes. They have to be all the same size, because if they don't follow in daisy chain, then there'll be gaps in your path. So all these routes here, you'll notice it's just 1 brick apart, 3 joints. And guess what? You've got to do that in front of all the boxes. Now I said you need 56. We're only doing it for 40 so far, but you're gonna have to do this again for the 56 boxes. So 3 boxes and go through. Now you may watch this, say I ain't doing that. It's gonna take me forever. It takes about 40 minutes to do this section, which is not that particular long. And the other one was my short one. Didn't take that long because I only used 25. So it doesn't actually take that bad, but if you save as you go along, keep coming back to it, you find you don't take too long to do it. Now, what I've done here is you'll see here I've come in 3 rows in, and I'm just going to create a line of 4 blocks long. Okay, and the reason why I've done it here because I wanted to make it easier for me to reach it. So I'm going to do the first row of 5, and then I'm going to do another strip and another 5 just to make it easy to connect. So what we're going to do here is this brick here is going to be our starting point. This is where all the magic starts, and that's going to put the circle across. So when the brick moves along this path, we're going to say, right, on the first point, when we reach this point, yeah, what we're going to do is new logic connection. When point reached on path, what I want us to do is I want to start the one above. So can we go to the green point on the other side, and can we turn that one on? So can you switch that one on? So then the next brick will start moving across. When the brick gets to the end of the path, do new logic connection. When point reached on path, we're going to move it to this particular line. Okay. Now you could say, well, doesn't it want to go to the circle above? Yes, it does, but going up and down like a yo-yo tends to make the thing crash all the time. So we're going to try and keep it all compact in one area, and then do that one line to the circle above, making our life so much easier. See, again, I'm trying to justify why you've had to wait 4 months for this, because I basically go through all the pain for you. So those that have been waiting patiently and saying, when's it coming, I can't wait, I've gone through all this, otherwise you'd have had all the cursing, and your parents and everyone, your family and wife won't like to hear all you swearing from a Disney game. But anyway, I've done it. So in this case, each of these bricks we go across. So we're going to go again, new path connection. When we reach the end of the path, connect to this one here. And we click to the path. I still haven't got this blooming thing working correct yet. Right. That trigger next. Right. So again, go back to the one above. So that's those 3 done. So we can check we've done those 3. This is just to remind me because I've forgotten already. So we're looking on here. Right. So we've got the first one. When we reach that point on the path, so a new point reached on the path, can we turn the one above it on? So can we turn that one on? Perfect. So that gets turned on. Next point across. New logic connection, when point reaches on path, and then move across. Don't do, if you're going to do this level, don't do it while doing something else and get distracted. I kept on getting distracted. It's quicker just to get straight onto it and get it finished. Right, now when you get to the top one, okay, so with this one here, yeah, so we go across here. Actually, I'm still slightly confused. We've done these 3 here. That turns the one on the top. Now the one at the top, we can't go any higher. So when we reach this point here, we're going to say new logic connection when point reached on path. We're actually going to go down and switch the one at the bottom on. So in this case, we're going to go down and we're going to switch that one on. We're going to do the next row. So can we switch that on? So that's that done, and then go back to the top. Always check you don't miss a brick out. Yeah, new logic connection when point reached on path, and can we connect that to the line? Okay, and we're going to just carry on repeating that for you all the way through. Yeah, new logic connection sorted, and we do the next one. So when we get to this point now, so that's now switched on, so that's come from above. So we get to this point here, new logic connection when point reached on path, go up, connect to the other box. Now we've already done one row, we've only got 9 to go. So it doesn't, it's not what I would call particularly long. We're talking, what, 2 minutes for it? It's not that long. It's worth it because the end result, you got to admit, was pretty cool. It was the only way I was going to get a full circle anyway. Okay. Right, I just wanted to make sure you saw all these, what the stages you had to go through. So we had all those linked together, all those worked out, and that does help there on the screen. So switch them on. Very repetitive. And when things are quite repetitive, that's the problem. You tend to forget to do one, or you miss one out, or you rush it. So just keep checking that they've all got the extra connections there on the screen. Now I'm going to obviously speed this clip up because you don't want to see all these particular parts, but so I'm going to speed that through so we'll show what we've got these connections through. But that's what you've got to go through and connect all these links up. Okay. Right. So I've now done the first set of 5. Yeah, so that's the first 5. You'll have a look on that one, that first part there. All first 5 are connected through, all linked up perfectly. The reason why I haven't done the other set because they have to keep going back and forth. So I thought it'd be easier in the middle again. I'll do another path. If you do the same as I've done because you want to make it easy for yourself and have 2 strips, you could have linked it all to the one path if you wanted to. But if we're going to do the full path, make sure this is the exact same length as the other one. So I said there was 4 blocks, right? So that's the 4 part there. Bang. That path there needs to match the length of the other one. So 1, 2, 3, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that has to match the other side because if it doesn't, then when they all daisy chain together, that you're going to have gaps in your circle. Yeah, so that's important that they are the same length. So I've done it. So what we're going to do now is the exact same thing, carry on, but this time I'm going to link it to this path. Because it's slightly closer, it makes my life a little bit easier to do. So we've got the one where we've been switched on from the back. We haven't got this one. So this case, all I'm going to do is still the same thing, but link it to that path. Yeah, I could have done the one path if I wanted to at the top, but again, it was just so I didn't have to keep moving back and forth between the different sections of the screen. And again, repeat it painfully at the top. Now, also, just be aware. So there are 56 boxes we're going to do. 40 at the moment I'm showing, but there are another 16 we're going to add to this. I did 80 on top of that to test it to find it doesn't even work. So that's when I had my paddy. I was like going, yo. And also, obviously, I'm going to still keep doing these clips. I've got a couple more series. So I'm now classing these as series, by the way. So this is my Infinity War series. And then we'll have another series come after that. So it's something that will appear on there. So chuck any suggestions that you want. But we'll keep these coming through. I'm not stopping using Disney Infinity. It ain't anything like it. So don't worry. They will be there. Just maybe longer gaps between the two. Right, so we've now connected them all up. Yeah, they're now all linked through, which is quite cool. So they're all linked up. So the very last one won't do anything because we don't have any more blocks to do. So that will be where I do certain triggers to it. So the very last one I'm just going to do here. New logic connection, point reached on path, connect it to this particular place. Right, now this is the weird thing, is you have to set all this up, but theoretically we then can't actually run it until the actual game starts, which is really frustrating. So they're all linked up, the other one's all linked up as well. So what we're going to do now is we're now going to link these to the circle above. So on here, new logic connection, when point reached on path, yeah, we can then go all the way up once and do the inner circle. By the way, it's important, not the outer circle, the inner circle. Can we connect to that path there? A new logic connection. There you go. And then we're going to do the same with the other one at the bottom. So that's that one done. We'll go down and do the other one and connect it to that path as well. So go all the way down the bottom, do the other one as well, and do a new logic connection. When point reached on path, can we connect it back again to the inner circle? Right, so we'll just now connect that up to the inner circle again as well, so both connected in it, and that will be them connected. Now while we're out there, just going to go a quick shout out to the guys in Netherlands. Thanks for all your comments you did for the last clips, appreciate that guys. I hope you like this one as well. Just I want to let anyone know in the European side, I voted to stay in the European market, but most of the country didn't, so I apologise for us doing that. No doing me, so please still watch me clips. Yeah, I wanted to stay, weren't my fault. Anyway, let's not get too heavy into this one. This is the painful bit now. What we need to do now on each one of these paths, we need to go in and you need to switch them off. Yeah, so each one you open them up, go to the properties of the green thing, go to properties and switch them off. Okay, you've got to do that for every single one. Only the ones that are in front of the bricks. You don't have to do it for the circle. It's just for these three brick parts. You have to go each one and you have to turn the settings off. Now you think, okay, that wasn't too bad, that's quite quick, but now what you've got to do is, now you've turned them all off, you've got to go to each brick and you've now got to connect them to the path. And once you've connected to the path, the one thing you then need to do, which is also vital, you must make sure that you change the orientation to switch that to be on. Yeah, you must do that, otherwise the brick won't fall into place. Right, and if you notice, when I do the brick, the pattern slightly moved to let me know you're done on the screen. So each one I do, I now have to connect to the path. Right, so that now connects to the path on the screen, so it moves forward. Then you must go to the box and you must turn the orientation. Now, if you thought turning them off was a pain in the neck, this really is a pain. And again, you think, really, shall I bother? You've seen the end result though, it's definitely worth it. And although you think it's going to take longer than it really does, it didn't actually take that bad. Which is one of the reasons why I kept on dreading, oh, I'm not going to go back to this flipping circle again, it's never going to work. But actually when I got back into it, it worked out, it was relatively quite quick. So it wasn't too bad on there. So I'm obviously going to speed this up, otherwise I'll bore you. So there we go, you'll now see that all those items are now connected to that path, which is brilliant. Now what I did here, which was the cool thing is for you, I then tested this out and realised I was short. I was like, no! Which is why I needed 16. So I'm going to do 4 more rows of 4. Yeah, so you can build your blocks up. So I'm going to just do another 4 rows because like I said at the beginning, you need 56. Yeah, so I did 40 to start with. So if I do 4 more rows, that'll give me the 56 that I want. Now make sure also you are constantly saving. So when you do a bit, save it. What I found is when I kept on jumping back and forth between switching them on and off, it crashed. When I kept jumping back and forth and connecting to the path, it crashed. So I would do, say, like 5, save it, or do 10, then save it, do another 10, save it. Just keep saving as you go across. Yeah, because this did crash 3 or 4 times on me, and I didn't overload the memory. You can see I've still got loads of memory left. So what we're going to have to do here now is we're going to have to repeat the whole section again with the path tools, because I'm going to add more bricks to it. So I'm going to get the path, I'm going to get the 3 points, yeah, so I'm going to make sure the 3 points, and again they've all got to be the same size. I can't just do 3 random points, they have to be the same size as the other one, so it's just 1 square across, and I'm now going to repeat that in front of each one of those bricks. Okay, and we're going to have to do the same thing as well, do everything with it again. So I'm just going to recap on what we did with these, but I'm doing in front of every single one. So now I've got them all set up, yeah, so they're my last one. Then we need the path to connect them to, so we'll have another path here again. Again, when we join these all together, got to be the same length, so again we're making this four bricks. That is also important. So, got to be the same. If it's a different size, then they'll come out at a different rate. Okay, alright. So now we've got them all connected too, so I'm just double checking everything, which is brilliant. Now what we've got to do is now link all those items to the path, right? But the first thing is, you know when I pointed out that was the last brick? Well, that's no longer the last brick now. So in this case, this is not the last one. So when we get to here, it's into the path. That one doesn't do anything. That one now needs to go new logic connection. When point reached on path, can we start the next line of bricks? So when point reached on path, can we start this one? And can we turn that one on? Can we turn that on? Occasionally it does this, by the way. It goes a bit weird. Like this is why it crashes sometimes, jumping back and forth. Right, now I can do it here. New point collection on path. When point reached, can we switch this back on? So again, we're going to do the whole chain again. Same effects like I've just shown you. New logic connection when point reached on path. We're going to then connect it to the other path. So really, so far, nothing really complicated. It's just time consuming. Yeah, that's sadly the only thing on here. So we'll set this back up. Oh yeah, another thing, so on that path I'm going back and re-adding it to the inner circle again. Now, after I keep going through this, it is sad that Disney Infinity is over, but it's getting to the stage now, people come and see what we're doing and they go, how do I get that game? And you go, well, you missed it, you missed out. Yeah, so it now feels like I feel like there's only a special lot of us that use Disney Infinity and people are missing out. So I feel quite privileged that I've still got it and still can do these things on it and other people can't. So it's quite nice that I'm still playing Disney Infinity and people go, well, what's this game you got? Well, how do I get that? And you go, well, you can't anymore, you missed it. And then you feel like you've got the special thing. So a lot of my daughter's friends come over and go, oh, can we get that? And you go, well, no, it's hard to get hold of it now. You have to search for it. Don't get me wrong, I'd have had Disney Infinity for any day if they could do it back straight away. Okay, let's keep going. So connect this up, so we're just going to keep going through these links and put these all in. So they are now all linked to that particular path, which is great. So guess what I've got to do now? I've got to turn them all off. Now you'll notice here I'm not doing it all in one go. I'm doing switching them off, connecting them, switching them off, because I get confused. If I do too many in one go, I just can't remember. So I've got in my head I have to say, right, do that section first. Now we're going to do this, because I can't remember what I'm meant to be doing one after the other. So in this case, it helps me remember and keep organised what I need to do. So I'm now switching them all off. We'll do the whole lot, switching them all off. If you're clean enough to do it in one go, great, but it confuses the hell out of me. So now that we've switched them all off, yes, I've done them all off on the box, now I've got to connect them onto the path. So new logic connection, connect onto the path. And by doing them in smaller steps like that, by the way, you don't miss one, because if you miss one, the whole thing falls over, and then trying to find out 56 which is the brick you missed is even really annoying. So that's why, again, I do them in little stages. But again, each one of these now, like before, we have to connect to the path, so new logic connection, connect to the path, and then we have to change the orientation to be so it changes. So we have to then go into the settings of the path tool, select the path tool, and change that. Right, so now all our bricks are set up and ready to go. They're all ready to connect up to our little shape, which is brilliant. So when we give it the go ahead, they all appear and go round that particular circle. So what we've got to do now is we've now got to build the rest of the ship. Okay, so we're going to go back to our basic bricks. Like I showed you in that little pre-example beforehand, we're going to build a ship, but now this is a bigger circle. Yeah, so it's a bigger scale ship. So what we see here is I'm just going to come back. You see I've lined it dead on the dots on the end, and I've just done one square cross on the edge of there. So it was just one across is all I did. So I use a 3, then I use a single brick, and then I use the ramp. Okay, so I could do the same with the top, same with line back, should be just one square, which is perfect. Why I kept changing, I have no idea. So like that, there you go, and a single square, perfect. I need those two set up because it's help to do with the ramp. And we don't need to colour in at the moment because I haven't used any of these bricks anyway, so I can colour them all in one go at the end. Right, so move these round. I mean, it's as close as you're going to get. Theoretically, if you look at the Q ship in the actual film, it's thinner at the top and spans down, but you don't have the brick, so it's the best I can do on it anyway. So before any of you point out, well, it doesn't really look like the actual ship, it's as close as I can get to it. So if you've got any ideas, chuck it in. But yeah, like I say, it's the only way I can think of working it out. So we're just building the bricks on. So that's like the front bit. Okay, and then what I thought I'd do here is I did a couple of pointy bits at the top instead, just to try and just make it look like a top and bottom area. And by the way, one thing you have to do, you have to get all the bricks first before you put the jets on. The jets will show you how to do, and the jets you need to use it from the Marvel Battleground playset. You need to get them from there. In case I tend to type on people's comments because I do listen to and read all your comments. But if you want to know how to unlock various objects and shapes, there's a guy called the Infinity Guru that tells you every playset and how to unlock everything. And you just search on the internet, do Infinity Guru. I've done links before on my pages, but that guy is really good. He tells you everything and how to unlock. It's still available, which is brilliant. Right. Now hopefully this clip, because it's taken a while, will spark my good old friend in California from the Disney Infinity Collectors Club, because I've noticed there's quite a few of us that have signed up for that, which is great. But come on, Eric, we need to see some stuff, we need some comments in there, so let's get back on it, please. We've got quite a few people signed up for that now, so let's chuck it in. I'll try and be a bit more proactive, and I'll put some more stuff on there. So those that have signed up to that, I'll try and put some more notes in, but hopefully just chuck in some bits and pieces. But Eric, can you have a look at that? See if you can get that back up and going. Right. Right, so we've now got that side of the ship, so we're now going to do it, because I realised there is like a little corner bit with the ship, so I'll put a section on the end. Right, so we're going to go down, move it back, so a little bit off the screen. Now while I'm building this, one thing I also noticed, still no news of what's happening with Dreams. Okay, and if those I've mentioned, it's like a new other gaming program where you can create your games. What I've seen looks brilliant. My only concern with what I've seen of Dreams, although I think it's going to be brilliant, is that you have to create everything, and that is a bit scary. Like, can I create everything? At least here I've got buildings already pre-built, yeah, that look like buildings. So although Dreams, I'm really excited and looking forward to it, I don't think it's going to be my replacement for Disney Infinity, because I like the fact that I have a house already pre-built that looks like a house. The other key thing is the characters have already got the movements. I mean, I've been using Iron Man and just fighting him, and all the techniques they've got, the characters have got, which were done by, was it Ninja Theory that did all the fighting techniques? You're not going to have that in Dreams. You're going to have to build that yourself, which is great. So I'm a bit confused with how good it's going to be, but the character designs in this was absolutely awesome. And Salt Lake City, by the way, that wrote this game, if anyone knows anyone in Salt Lake City, yeah, or knows a developer, or you're from Salt Lake City looking that I've done, just put a shout out. Tell me if you like any of the clips I've done. You don't have to, obviously you can't tell us what you're working on because it's always top secret, but if anyone from Disney Infinity actually made the actual software in Salt Lake City and you see these clips, I'd love to hear your comments, what you think. Are you impressed that people are still playing the game? Give us your view back. I'd love to hear. I'd love to see what the CEO would say about it. Right, so there is the frame of our spaceship, which is quite cool. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of section in the inside, because you'll notice here there's little gaps here on the edges. Now I did it on both sides, and I realised I only want to do it for the back, so I got rid of the ones at the front. So what I did, just put little blocks here, just so you can't see the little gaps. Basically, that was the main reason for that. So I just put these little blocks in, but I only did it on the end bit, didn't do it on the front. Yeah, because the end bit was quite good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the jets inside there, so you won't be able to go in anyway. That was that particular section. So I just had that, just to put thicker edge to it. So like I said, you need the Marvel playset. Okay, so the Marvel playset on there allowed us to do this particular setting. Alright, let's go and find those. So I'm just going to go to the Toy Box Origins and then look through. And I think in this one, on this thing, you have to beat somebody on a. You have to look again. Look at Infinity Gear. I'll tell you how to unlock this particular component. But I quite like this, and I've used this one in my Echo Base one. So in here we've got the option. Now, just to let you know, also, just before I forget this while I'm putting this jets in, obviously there's going to be a number of series clips. The final one is going to be a Wakanda clip, which a lot of people saying, can you do the Black Panther type clip? So there will be that last one, which is the big battle scene, which I'm trying to work out. I'm still actually working the logistics of that. This was the more complicated part to do, but we'll see how that goes. Right, so we've now got our jet on, and they're going, well, we'll do the logic on that. And sadly, I'm going to do the logic on how to make all the special effects come in our second clip. Right, now the last thing we're going to do is that obviously when we spin it round, we're going to stop the circle. But in the film, the thing was always spinning. The wheels were spinning round. Now I was going to leave just the wheel, just leave the path going constantly, but the flicker kept on changing it, which was really annoying. It kept on doing the flick, so I switched the actual item off. So what I thought I'd then do is, so do you know what? I'm actually going to create the effect to give the impression that it's spinning. So we're going to have a couple of paths that are going to do some effects spinning around that gives you that object that it thinks is moving. Now I don't want to mess with the path or that object, so I'm going to do 3 more paths. Okay. Now these paths are for the object to spin round, and they are still going to go in the same direction. So you'll see here I can line them up with the previous dots. But I need 3 paths here. One is for a flashing light, and one is for 2 flashing flares that give you the object that something is spinning round. So this effect here is to give you the lighting effect that when the thing stops, that it actually looks like it's still spinning. Okay, and this is part of the setup of our visual effects. And I'm sadly going to go into more of that into the second clip. The structure we've got set up is already done. All I've got to do now is just send a signal to that last box and it goes through. Right, so we'll put that on there, so that's that part done. Okay, obviously with this one, we're going to go into the properties of this, and we're just going to say it's looped. Yeah, now the difference on here is I want them to loop fast, so I'm going to change the speed of this one, not the main part, just the new one I've just done, to 300. Okay, the main one still stays 100. 100 was fine, didn't need to go 300, so only the special effects one that we set to 300. So I now need another 2 circles. So the one slightly off is going to be the flare. And again, do the same thing again. Okay, so move this back up. Right, so again, switch it. Also, yeah, so left it switched on. Don't switch the thing off. Oh, no, wait, no, sorry. I do switch the thing off first. Sorry, that was the important thing. I forgot to mention that. I nearly forgot that. Must switch the path off first. We're going to leave it on in a moment, but we switch it off first because we're going to add the effect, and then we switch it back on. So this time I'm going to go the other side. And you saw there I came 2 across. That was also important because the lights are towards the end, so there are 2 from either side. So I need 2 lights either side. The one in the middle was just to the side of it. That was important. But yeah, I turned the paths off. Didn't say that, did I? Whoops. Yeah. So these paths, not the center one. Yeah. Don't mess with them. These 3 new ones is the watch I then switch on, and then I switch it back on. So we expect a gap here because the outer circle one's light goes near the edge. Now I did this the other side because then I should have 2 lights opposite each other. That was another reason. So on there, going to make it switch it off, set the speed to 300, and I make it looped. Yeah. Now the reason why I set it to 300, yeah, is that if I then when I add object to and add it to 300, it then travels at 600 on the speed. Right. So that there is our effects. What we're going to do. So what we're going to do now is on the building that I use as the backs to the building, in here, what we're going to do the effects with the light. Okay, so we need a couple more tools here. Let's find those. We just go through. Where is it? Come on. Here we go. Right, so we need a couple of little effects here. So where's my logic gate gone? Right, so we need a logic gate here. So this is going to deal with partially some of the effects. Okay, so in this one here, we've got the logic gate where we're going to send the signal through, and that's going to send me little effects. So what we're going to do is we need a couple of effects generators, and these are going to do some lighting effects. Okay, so I'm going to click onto this little button here, click on this one. So I need 2 lighting effects here, and I need 3 locators. Yeah, so I'm going to have little effects on here. So I need 3 locators, and those locators are where the effects are going to be. So let's move those across, and let's click those in here. Perfect. Right, so 3 of those, going to drop them in. Right, cool. So one is going to be a light and one is going to be a flare. So what we're going to do is go new logic connection, yeah, on output from this gate, because this is going to be what triggers everything off from here. Yeah, we're going to say here, right, can we play looped? It's important we play loop, yeah. And what we want to do here is we look down here, you've got different types of effects you've got here. So we look through here, you've got light, and then we're going to go down there, and it's the, there you go, flaming flare. That's quite cool. So we're going to pick that option. And what we're then going to do here is do new locator connection and connect it to the dots. And do the other one again, new locator connection. Okay, so that's where the lights are going to appear, and they're going to keep flashing as they go through. And we're going to attach those to the path. So on this one, we're going to do a new logic connection on here, on output. Okay, same thing applies. We're going to put it into this option here. Okay, and we're going to go on to the option light, and then we're going to do the flare, the street light here. This light here will then give you that effect. It will give you a brighter glow. I'm going to link it to that locator. The single one, by the way, goes on the one closest to the center. So this one here, so that's linked to that option. Yeah. So they're all set from there. So we've got locator connected to that option there, which is good. Right. So what we're going to do, these ones on the outside. So we're going to click onto this. So let's do the one in the center first. So new path connection, and that goes all the way back to our shape. And that connects to the one just off. It can't be the middle one, because the middle one we are going to switch off. Yeah, going to go into that one, so I'm going to connect it in there. Now these paths I don't want turned off, but I turned them off for a reason, because if I didn't, they wouldn't move on the screen, so they change on the screen. Now that I've got it connected to the path, see, now that's connected to the path, what I can do now is I can go to the properties of that, and I can set the speed. Okay, and the speed I can change to 300. Okay, in one of these I accidentally put it as 3, but if we set it to 300, that will then spin through and it will put it in the direction, it will loop through. Okay, so that's that one done. Okay, and now one of these go to the other 2 outer paths. Okay, making sure they're both different. So new logic connection, move this back across, go to the outer one now, and let's connect to this path here. Like I say, because they're switched off though, the thing doesn't move, so it allows that, otherwise it'd be spinning too quickly on the setting. So we're now connected to there. You'll see that the item is still there on the screen. Yeah, we can see that's the path, so we can change the properties of that. So properties, toy box path, and again I should change. I think by accident one of them I changed them to 3, but it should be 300, not 3. Yeah, 300. There you go, sorted. Do the last one. That's that done. Come out. New logic connection. So a new path connection in this case. As we move that through, I'm going to go down there, and we're going to connect that to that path, which is over here. There you go. That's now connected to that path, which is brilliant. And we can go and change the settings on there. And we'll change the settings on that one. Same thing again. Go into properties. Go toy box path, change speed to 300. Okay, and that's where I made a mistake. It should be 300. Yeah, I made a mistake there. It was too slow. It wants to be 300 on the screen. We'll ignore that because I missed out on the screen. So now that they're set up and we've got the link set through, yeah, all we need to do is we need to switch the paths on. Okay, so that's all great. That all does that link. That triggers it through, triggers those effects onto those lights. But now we need to switch these paths back on. Because the one path we're going to switch off is the center one once the bricks are on. But these ones we want constantly spinning. So I switched them off to start with to get the links in. Now I'm going to properties and switch them all back on. Okay, so I can do that on that one. And I can do the same on the other two. So that one switched on. So you see, that's when I realised, like, oh, why is that so slow? Because it should spin quite quickly. Because if it was a fast speed, you wouldn't be able to get to it anyway. Cool. Now you'll notice here it goes even stupid speed. Look at that, ridiculously fast. Right, now we do the other two. Switch those two on, and we can leave them on. We never turn them off at all in the game. Right, well that's all I've got for this particular clip. Yeah, and you go, well that's not the Q ship finished. Well, theoretically it is. We're going to add now all the special effects, so the lightning, the winds. I'm going to show you all those those things to occur. So the next couple of clips are going to show you how we get all the lightning and all those effects to occur on the screen, how we get the cars to appear and move and explode on those options. So just for a little trip, I thought, well, let's just show you the ship actually being built. Okay, so I'm just going to speed up now to where I was at the end, just so you show how the thing all comes together. Otherwise, you can't believe how it works. Okay, so we've done all these links, but let's just go to a little bit here. So I would say I've just jumped to Spider-Man now because he was the other accomplished with thing. I'm just going to show when we press this button. Now this is not what you're going to do, but this is how the thing works. So you'll see here this is what the finished product looks like. Yeah, but then you'll see the path go round. Yeah. Now in our game we don't see that happen. We just get the object on the screen. Okay. But I thought I'd just show you that, get the finish, because we've got the next clip. I'm going to post all the clips at the same time, so you're not going to have to wait 6 months for the next one. So they're all going to come up at the same time. I hope you like it. I hope you're still playing Disney Infinity. Please let me know in the comments what you think of the clip. Was it worth the wait? That's the big question. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you very shortly. Bye.